Welcome back, everybody. It's a tough pre-show to follow, but we are live with game number 1 of the week for the North American Strikers League. We're going to kick things off with the S.A.D.B.O.I.S taking on Lob City. I'm Gordo. I'm joined by Dendar. Dendar, happy Saturday. I don't know if it's morning or afternoon where you're at, but it's time to get into another day of Omega Strikers.
Middle of the day, but nothing mid about this game. You mentioned that pre-show, but we've got some information about this game after we got some information about those players. It's going to be on Demon Deus with Siege Machine and Peak Performance being the starting awakenings. Siege Machine and Peak Performance, two very different ideas. One's a bit more scaling and will give you some survivability to live on this map that is known for just a heinous amount of damage. And the other one potentially could lead to some very hard lockdown situations where once you're winning, you just suffocate the enemy. So we'll have to see what they aim for. But this game has two potentially new to you players. The Puffy FPS, one of my favorite players in this game, and the legendary Aldente making their debut. Mr. Gordo, how are you feeling about these debuts?
Yeah, I wasn't ready for the Puffy side of this. I was getting all prepared for Aldente all day long. There is also Killiest playing over on the Lob City side, if I'm not mistaken. So quite a few newer faces here. I mean, the Aldente debut though going to be the talk of the town for as far as a new player coming in on the S.A.D.B.O.I.S. It's always an exciting one.
Well, much like Aldente, they'll have to just throw him to the wall and see if he sticks. But let's take a look at these starting awakenings here. We've got a lot of peak performance. All right, Siege Machine was not on the table, even with a character like Now being picked. I think that that's pretty reasonable considering picks like Zentaro and Estelle and Vice are out here. That's a lot of damage. But Lilian on the Juliet, maybe not looking for damage here, just looking for the dash punch KOs, but supplying damage at the same time. But both locks are down, Gordo.
Yeah, that's a really explosive start coming out of Lob City here, and Leon going to look to take advantage, but Killiest just sneaks on through, finds that drone, and pushes it through. Goal number 1 going over to Lob City.
Excellent primary there, and one thing to note is with this Now pick, they're going to have a lot more speed, so situations like that are going to be a little bit easier to set up, but they don't have the potency of those Estelle primaries and ultimates. So we'll just have to see if that speed is enough to get them in the leading position. But right now, the S.A.D.B.O.I.S are leading in damage as Killius is looking pretty low here. No locks taken yet, but Lilian almost taken off the sidelines. Lots of resources burned here for those kills and damage. We'll have to see how the defense can stack up with just a couple strikes to defend themselves. But Lilian looking for even more damage on the new debut Puffy FPS, fighting over the orb, but not able to steal it quite yet. But more resources burned here. But the locks aren't really going down. The defense has been excellent so far, but the offense is making their move.
Yeah, really great stuff from Puffy here. Great passing setups, great angles, and pushed through into the goal. S.A.D.B.O.I.S going to be able to equalize there. Some really nice dribbles from Puffy and Aldente on that last play just to try to keep the pressure on towards those barriers, not taking the obvious shots right up that shapeshifting is going to block every time, keeping the dribbles going and managing to find themselves the openings to be able to clean up that point. Now the pressure coming in on towards the S.A.D.B.O.I.S barriers. Leo already was able to take the first. They are going to be able to get it past shapeshifting here. They are being able to rotate around fast enough to be able to keep up that defense. There's the flip and the shot from You Already Lose, and a KO found by Aldente on the top side. Puffy helping out with that, using that piercing shot, and there's the supernova out of shapeshifting. Not going to be able to keep it cleared out for long, but will protect the remaining barrier.
One thing I'm noticing here is these players are very good at locking it down, and once they do, they're already in position for the take, and just like that, the goal goes in. It seems like as soon as that second lock gets taken, all the players are in position to just collapse on that goalie, giving them no breathing room. We'll have to see if either the defense can adjust for that, or if that's just simply the nature of the map when these players are of this caliber. But right now, Killius is working on a flip here, but everybody else is pretty low energy, it feels like. It seems like you have to burn a lot here just to stay alive.
Yeah, shapeshifting losing a little control of it there. It bounces back up against the goal gates and finds its way onto a barrier, but now going to still have one more to hang on to. Going into the Oni's Blade is Aldente, trying to push for the remaining one. You Already Lose looking to buy some time as the team regroups, but the pressure from Leon is enough to find the first barrier. Very surprised that Flame Flurry didn't find the second, was just on a knife's edge. They're going to keep up that pressure. All three members sending it in, but You Already Lose keeps up the defense, bouncing off of the gates. Will be able to find that second barrier, and a piercing shot in from Puffy will clean up the point, and we are going to point number 5 in the first set.
Excellent control there by Puffy. I like how they went for a little bit of an unorthodox angle. They didn't just strike it straight at the barrier. They recognized what was available to the enemy team and worked around that. Really great awareness by them. But that earlier barrier by Lilian, I think it's because on this map there is that slight recast timer before the barrier can be taken after one lock is taken to avoid situations like that where the ultimate is just pummeling it down. But one taken each side here, that Flame Flurry is out, but not a lock taken.
Absolutely, and now keeping up this pressure towards the barrier yet again. Kiliast is staggered, and Aldente keeps it going. Nice death touch out of äåİÍΗIÐNęıłńœ. Going to be able to finish him off on the other side. Now opening up the barriers. There's the piercing shot. Supernova keeps up the defense, but a nice pendulum swing out of äåİÍΗIÐNęıłńœ. Going to be able to send it back up towards the top and protect the barrier. Flip out of shape-shifting to keep up the defense for longer. Aldente not letting up yet, but used quite a few resources on that last attempt. Going up towards the top side. Going to have to go evasive to avoid going down to leaåLeon. Rush forward. Goes in for another slice and dice. Puffy there on support, setting up for a piercing shot. Rose warps in, and not going to be enough even with the specials used from both members. Puffy takes another shot, sends in the Crystal Thorns. Aldente dribbles it up the top side, but the Flame Flurry from leaåLeon going to be enough to clear it back out. Kiliast passes it down to Leo, who takes the remaining barrier. Open goals now on both sides. Aldente taking it back away with the rush. Shape-shifting sends it back down. Puffy keeps up the aggression, and Puffy sends it in with the Rose Warp. That's a 3-2 score for the S.A.D.B.O.I.S. They take set number 1.
Really, really tight set from both players there, both teams even. Very difficult to score on either side. All these players are playing excellently here. It feels surprisingly even. One thing I want to talk about, though, is I feel like it's a rare sighting to see the You Already Lose Rasmus, as normally that is the famous Bells pick for this team, so it's really exciting to get to see them play this team. However, the scaling in this draft is starting to come up. We see that bulk up taken to go with the peak performance taken earlier, but Orb Dancer. One thing I want to talk about Orb Dancer on this map is the orbs are in a little bit awkward of a position for the left and right side because you have to go all the way behind the lock, so you really set yourself out of the play. So while normally it would be a little difficult to pick those up, that extra speed to get back into the play is really going to help this team make the most out of the EXP you get, as well as the energy from those orbs and the ability to just stay alive here. But shapeshifting is trying to change that living part.
Yeah, absolutely. Leo, with a full frontal assault now on towards the barrier, takes a KO onto Aldente while he's at it. Rookie brawlers in the league having a tough time against leaåLeon. Some things never change, and there is going to be the second barrier falling on down here for Lob City as they look to turn things back around. Kiliast gets it over to Leo, bounces off the top. The defense will be kept up by You Already Lose, but they have a nice little replicatable offense here. It is going to get sent back over to shape-shifting. Leo coming in on the bottom, has access to the flip as well, right in melee range. There's going to be that Oni's blade out of Aldente, keeps up the defense and prevents the goal from coming on through. Now stolen back away. Aldente going to try to reset up some offense here for the S.A.D.B.O.I.S. Leo with a good angle in the one-on-one. Didn't seem to have the dash punch available, though. There is Supernova being channeled by shapeshifting. Going to have to get back over in time. It won't be able to save the remaining barrier, and now it's open goals on both sides. You Already Lose sends it down. Leon looking to recover on towards the bottom. Flip out of Kiliast, and right in the corner. You Already Lose, not going to be able to save that one.
It looked a little difficult there because they couldn't secure the kill, but with that flip, they will secure the goal. I think one difference in these team comps is while they do have a lot of damage on the side of Lob City, they don't have any real kill confirm options like that Zentaro primary into really any of his buttons, or even the Rasmus death touch just securing the kill by yanking them off the map. So it's going to be a little difficult to secure those kills once they do get them, but the map does lead you to sitting on the sides quite often. So that may be how they're going to start getting those kills, but even without them, they seem like they're doing just fine.
Absolutely. Flip comes out of You Already Lose to defend the last remaining stack of the goal barrier, and they will be able to hold on to it for now. That's a KO found on a Puffy by shape-shifting on the other side, so it's a 2 versus 3, but S.A.D.B.O.I.S are still the aggressors here, now trying to fall back. They're going to start to feel the power play a little bit more as they lose their second and final barrier. Puffy back on the offense now, back in respawn, going elusive to avoid leaåLeon's combo, and sends through the Crystal Thorns, nearly being able to find their way onto the score. There's a Rose Warp setting up for Aldente, but he was already charging forward, getting a little bit of damage there onto Kiliast. KO found for Leo, another power play for Lob City, and a big opportunity here to be able to take the score and go up 2-0. You Already Lose keeps up the defense, still holding on. Shapeshifting is out of the goal arc, keeping up the aggression. A huge last-minute save from You Already Lose will prevent it from coming on through, and now Aldente resetting with that eye rush. Not going to be able to find it, and now it's shape-shifting, sending it back over to Killius. There's the flip, sending it down off the bottom. The dash punch from Leo. It's perfectly set up. You already lose, can't defend. It's 2-0 for Lob City.
That was a really great awareness by Killius there. Recognizing that the pass was cut by Aldente, but finding an angle around, and Leon making the excellent adjustment to get that dash punch. An angle that isn't quite direct, but still directs them to a lead in this set 2-0 so far. But Puffy maybe be getting led to the sidelines here with a lot of damage coming out on them. With the enemy team having this now, they're able to recuperate some of that help just a little bit, but Puffy has to just play their life like they've been playing this entire game, and while they've been doing that excellently, how long can you keep that up for in the face of these players?
That's going to be the tough ask here. Puffy staggered right now, dribbling it off the top. Aldente looking to take it back in towards the barriers, but Leo will be able to get the bounce off of the backside and just sends it through. A 3-0 set for Lob City. They close it out after a rough first one.
Aldente holding on to that energy burst will not carry over to the next set. Lob City had some of their own working, but now we speak of the energy, but we do not see the catalyst or the quick strikes here. Two awakenings that could be very powerful on this map. However, we do see the Monumentalist now potentially coming.
Absolutely here, Monumentalist going to go over towards the Rasmus instead, grabbing themselves the heavy impact, reverberation on top of some other stagger awakenings already going to be the selection for Aldente.
This is a tough draft if you're the side of the S.A.D.B.O.I.S. Your goalie basically gets denied an awakening. The scaling of the stagger is nice for Aldente there. That's going to be a good pickup for them. And stacks on stacks, if you're dying as much as Puffy is taking damage while they've been managing to stay alive, if they start losing those stacks, that could be really bad. But Lob City, they get out like bandits. They get 1-2 punch on Juliet, almost securing a kill off of it just there. We get heavy impact on the Now, which when you're in these tight closed spaces, that's going to be a lot of cooldown reduction you're getting, and also a lot of damage and potential knockback, so you've got to be careful about that. Aldente almost losing their life there. And then finally, you get the cast to last on shapeshifting, which is going to make those stuns last a lot longer to set up either some kill confirms or even just potentially set up their team for more kills.
Quick double barrier there secured for Lob City as they manage to open things up. Aldente going to try to go for the counter-offensive. Nice dribble set up with that slashing strike. Will be able to eventually push through for the barrier and set up with the open goal now. Orb spawning on the bottom side. You already lose. Going to pass it on down. Leon going to be able to disrupt. Sends it through. Follows up with a flip. Sends it to Killius, but Killius not ready on the reception. And the play is going to break apart. The counter strike from S.A.D.B.O.I.S will be able to take it into the goal, and they break the losing streak.
That's a bit of a tragic goal there, as it was the Chain Lightning that sent it in. You can see them doing a little bit of a dance at the end of that round. Chain Lightning, a mechanic that, oh my goodness, that Castellas almost taking a life there. But that Chain Lightning, typically on the receiving end, is quite tough to deal with because it puts you in some very awkward situations that you might not have been ready for. But there, it's the defense that gets punished by their own ability. So that's a little bit of a tough break for them here in this next set.
Absolutely. Here comes the counter-strike yet again from You Already Lose. Comes in with that pendulum swing, not able to push forward for more, and the defense out of Lob City going to be able to hold on to this last barrier for a good amount of time. Finally, Puffy going to be able to push it through. Killius already staggered, very low, very much at risk of going down, but will be able to hold up the defense. Nice setup off the Oni's blade. Puffy takes it through with the Rose Warp, and it's 2-0 S.A.D.B.O.I.S.
That was a big adjustment by Puffy there. They recognized that the Oni's blade was going to send it backwards. They sent it back into the Oni's blade on the good side. And then to follow up, the Rose Warp secured it. That was a great sequence of abilities and positioning by them to make sure the core got hit instead of a player. Beautiful midfielding by them to help out their brawler.
Oh!
But right now, they might need some help on the defensive side, as You Already Lose is low on HP, and there's almost 3 people in this net.
Yeah, did use the flip there, but was able to hold on to things for the time being. One barrier left apiece. Shapeshifting coming out of the arc, going to have to blink on back using that escape button, but the aggression coming through from You Already Lose on this small map can always just step up to midfield and throw through the pendulum swing. They managed to find the barrier off of the bounce, and looking for the counter 3-0 here are the S.A.D.B.O.I.S. Shapeshifting, going to try to shut it down, comes in, helps out the aggression, and takes down the barrier for themselves. Puffy getting it over into Aldente's hands. Thunderstruck not quite going to be able to land. They will be looking for the power cord to push it through. That one not going to connect either. Aldente dribbling back and forth with Kilius, goes into the Oni's blade, sent back over by Shapeshifting, who has access to the flip. They are going to try to force it out, nearly getting it out of their control as the Supernova channel doesn't go off in time, but the help out from Kilius will be able to keep up the defense. Kilius is down now, though. It's one-on-one. Shapeshifting versus Aldente. The flip from Leo Leon will be able to send it back over to the left and hang on for the rest of the time, but now there's going to be a counter-offensive coming back through the flip into the bottom corner. It's 3-0 for the S.A.D.B.O.I.S. Aldente finds the goal.
It really just felt like nowhere was safe there. Both forwards have a flip. You have the Flame Flurry to contest the first one, but even if you try to send it somewhere, there's just really seemingly nowhere to send it to. But the reward here is catastrophic, as Catalyst is the pickup. On this map, you generate so much energy from hits. You're going to be generating even more. You're going to get hit a lot. So that's going to be a ton of energy going into the hands of Aldente. And we saw there with that last flip, they were able to secure the goals with it. So it's not like energy is weak on this player, but Stinger pickup, very scary stuff, as that's going to be a ton of damage. And with Unstoppable pickup by Kilius, that's going to be some survivability. The Quick Strikes goes to You Already Lose, actually. So that's going to be double energy generation for the side of the S.A.D.B.O.I.S. And Leo Leon picking up this Orb Ponderer. Going to be a little bit difficult to keep that stacked up when you have to be so in the action all the time against these players, but I think that's a player that could certainly do it if given the opportunity.
Yeah, a bit of a surprise to see that one coming through, but Leo Leon making the decision, going to have to live with it now. Going to be You Already Lose, sending it back down, and a counter-offensive from Lob City, going to be able to find their way on through the barrier. You Already Lose, holding on, KO found onto the now. And a power play available for the S.A.D.B.O.I.S. Aldente immediately coming in from the top ropes, looking to set up for the goal. Doesn't even need him, though. Puffy going to be able to push it through with the Rose Warp after Shapeshifting's defense.
Locking it down with that Rose Warp. Excellent positioning once more. But that speed is starting to stack up on Puffy. The stats are about halfway there. They've got double stagger for that peak performance. And we saw that earlier kill. The extra power from the bulk up may have been in part due to that, but there is so much damage coming out here and no locks to defend with.
Puffy, it's just 1v6 this game. I don't understand. He's just coming up here, taking every single barrier, and there's You Already Lose showing up to get their name on the goal and close it out. But what was that sequence out of Puffy? He just takes it all.
Looking a little inspired here, but if the gameplay keeps up like this, we will see potentially a 3-1 sweep here, but we have to get through this next round first. There we saw the lane swap, potentially recognizing that now is a little difficult for Zentaro to fight on the kickoff, as Zentaro not the best kickoff options, but Aldente making good use of what they have available to them. This defense, though, is looking more like the offense, as we see this B.O.I.S pushing up again. Very strong use of that kit.
Puffy is just grooving today. Comes in with another Rose Warp to find that additional barrier, and now going to be an open goal and a chance to close out game number 1 here for the S.A.D.B.O.I.S. KO found by Leo Leon. Aldente, though, on the breakaway, goes into the Oni's blade, has access to the flip. Flip from Shapeshifting will come out first, but that's that resource down. There's the flip right past Shapeshifting. Can't be covered by the power cord. And another 3-0 set will close game number 1 out for the S.A.D.B.O.I.S.
That's a fierce game 1, especially for the debut of both Aldente and here we have Puffy FPS on this MVP screen. So really just showing how much potency they had in their gameplay, like you were talking about with that potential. I mean, they scored more goals than the Brawler did. So you may have been onto something with this potential 1v9 talk. But that said, I think all players played excellently, but one side was just a bit more dominant than the other.
Yeah, Puffy, not been a starter in NASL since Season 2, back when they were on Finesse, but looking like they haven't skipped a beat here. Coming out as a sub on the S.A.D.B.O.I.S, putting up a fantastic performance here, and yeah, I mean, gonna take a well-deserved MVP here.
If I can see correctly, I believe it is, I want to say Clarion Test Chamber as our next map, if I am seeing that right.
Yes, that looks like Clarion. It's 3 words, that means it must be Clarion Test Chamber, or Inky's Splash Zone, but it doesn't look like that.
A fair analysis, but that map could lead to a bit of difference here, as there are some very polarizing setups in that map. It's not like Demon Days where you know what you want to do, you know how to attack it. Every single variant you have to attack differently and have to play around what tools you have, what tools you don't have. So you really have to make sure you're making the most of everything. But if S.A.D.B.O.I.S are playing like this, I have no doubts they'll be able to. It's the adjustment from Lob City that we need to see here, but it'll be difficult to do when the other side equally is going to be making adjustments of their own.
Yeah, for sure. It's going to be Lob City's map choice, so you hope they've got something cooking, or at least they've got a lot of reps in on the Clarion test chamber to be able to come out with those performances. But really, really fantastic debut there for Aldente, as well as for Puffy under the S.A.D.B.O.I.S banner. They're definitely going to both be pretty pleased with that one, looking to keep that momentum going and see if they can stay undefeated here in Season 4. Going to be the bans coming on through. S.A.D.B.O.I.S going to take away the Kazan. Lob City going to take away that äåİÍΗIÐNęıłńœ that does leave the Estelle still up and in question, but it's going to be a first pick X. We've heard about Aldente's X, Dendar, and here it is in game number 2.
We'll see if Aldente can be the X factor here, but I do like X pick on this map. I got to play it with Dropletto just the other day, so I can tell just how potent it truly is when you have somebody like Puffy backing you up. But that said, Mako on the defense here is a tough nut to crack, as that is a very huge defensive wall. We heard earlier in the pre-show how we were talking about that character can be a bit difficult to fight, but we will just have to see if they can crack that iron wall. But that Estelle pickup is here, like you mentioned. So, good mention by you. I'm not sure what the pick 4 and 5 are going to be here, but stacks on stacks in prime time. 2 pretty good, solid options regardless. It just depends on if they want that extra core control or they want the speed to try to run around the enemy team. We'll just have to see what the picks are.
Absolutely here. So, do they want to try to capitalize on the potential lower primary cooldowns or the movement speed they've got? Are they going to try to go for some kind of Era X comp? Yes, they are. Era going to end up coming on through here, and now the question going to be, what are they going to look to pair it with?
The BOIS.
Ooh, BOIS in the goalie, probably.
Damage. But I like the second comp. We do have the double beam action between the Zentaro secondary and the Estelle primary. But did we not just see this forward duo, but for the side of S.A.D.B.O.I.S, we had Aldente on the Zentaro and Puffy on the Estelle? Perhaps they're feeling a little bit inspired by that performance and want to take a note of it for themselves. But we're getting into this game here, and we'll have to see if this X-Era comp being heralded by the BOIS instead of what you typically would see the Mako goalie there for the extra double enchanter support. I think we called it last week. But that said, we're into it now, and we'll just have to see how it shapes up.
Yeah, for sure. So we will have to see how they're going to be able to execute on this composition. The BOIS looking like it might be going to unintelligible, as we expected. We did see some BOIS midfield out of the S.A.D.B.O.I.S prior, but that was back when they had Vaughn on the team rather than Aldente here. So maybe making those adjustments in real time and seeing unintelligible start to pick up the character. All right, and now I think we lost Dendar to the old mute, but hopefully he'll be able to get back.
Production was informing me that I was a tad quiet. Perhaps I'm a little bit easier to hear now.
You are louder now. That is definitely
okay, excellent.
True.
Well, louder may not be better, but we're getting into this game, so no more time for adjustments. We just have to roll with what we have available, as these players will as well. But looking at these starting awakenings, only 3 stacks on stacks. It's actually an even split here. Puffy and Aldente on the stacks, Killiest on the stacks. But you already lose shapeshifting and Leo Leon on that prime time. We will have to see which choice ends up on top here as we get into this game. Lots of resources already burned here, but on this Gates of Obscura variant, there's a lot of damage that you get just for existing. We see Killiest already extremely low. The BOIS ult coming to suffocate that space and potentially punish Killiest, but Puffy is now on the losing end of this health exchange, and Aldente is on their way. There's just so much damage coming out here. We see that BOIS pickup really coming out, but also a kill come out. You already lose full HP, but down a player on their team.
Yeah, Leo Leon seeing an opportunity and capitalizing there as he takes the fight to him. Going to be able to create a power play, but they've yet to be able to convert that into another barrier. Aldente got to be very careful about getting staggered and stuck in the goo. Does look like he'll be all right for the time being. Killiest going to be able to send it back on up towards the top corner. Now getting bullied here, stuck in between Puffy and Aldente. There's another bell ringer. This one not going to connect onto anybody. He's just getting pushed and shoved around and not going to be able to find the angles so far. Puffy ready to receive on the bottom, looking to pass it up towards Aldente. There's going to be the Oni's blade pushing him back away, taking him in for the KO. Leon able to create a second power play for Lob City on this point. Will this be the one where they can close out? Trades back and forth. Puffy not going to be able to grab it, and shape-shifting. Perfect pitch from across the map takes the solo goal.
Big power play opportunities there, but we have the flip available still, so that is going to be another opportunity for this defense. But right now, we'll have to see with this X-Era comp, they do have a lot of scaling potential, so even if this first round doesn't go quite their way, they will still have a lot going for them. But Zentaro, also a character that can scale quite heavily with the right awakenings, but right now, we need to get some things to scale these health bars, as these players are taking seemingly infinite damage here, and these players are taking all the space they can get off of it.
Yeah, the bouncing bumpers really making a difference off these last couple of shots as it's going to come rocketing back over towards You Already Lose. Able to block it away again. Channels the Supernova for another defense. Leon now has the opportunity, but there's going to be the flip out of Aldente. Taking one down. Leo, though, exploding on the opposite side. Able to take a barrier for himself. Now coming back to help out on the defense. Aldente going to be able to knock him away, but You Already Lose. Can't grab it on the defense. Leon going to take credit for that goal, and it's 2-0 for Lob City.
It seems like the only thing that has been lost was control of the core there. But new variant, new round. Got to keep the mental fresh even in the face of such disasters. But You Already Lose getting a quick barrier for their team. And this X is huge with the Era Beam and the Maelstrom, Project Maelstrom. That's going to be a huge X that is just funneling the offense here.
Yeah, that's a big boy. Aldente going to be able to find the second barrier using some of that power and just hoping to get a taste of that one again. Drum and bass from Shapeshifting, going to be able to keep up the defense for the time being, but now channeling the Supernova. You Lose takes it in, double KO plus the goal, claiming it all.
Buy one, get one off of that Vice ultimate, but that's going to be a Vice ultimate down for this next point on the defense. We'll have to see if You Already Lose can either help keep up the offense and not have to worry about that defense, or whether or not that's going to come back to bite them. But that said, Puffy FPS is in great spots as always. Whoa! And a great kill comes out, almost a double barrier there. But Leon, with this whip available, is going to be able to help on this defense. Though, that said, they're looking quite low. This scaling potentially doesn't even need to come out. There's just pure deaths left and right, and the flip gets burned. Even without the pressure on them, just the pure aura that Aldente is putting off was enough to get that flip out.
Absolutely, and You Already Lose getting in there with another really well-placed Supernova, going to be able to force out resources, going to be able to claim another barrier. Puffy, though, getting bullied by Leo on the other side. The Ensnare Drum's going to buy some time for that combat to take place. Aldente not able to fall back in time to be able to protect the barrier. Flip going to be forced out of You Already Lose. It's Aldente falling back out of the top side as Leon already taken low and at risk of getting taken out. Still not staggered, now is, as Puffy connects the Bewitching Beam, and Leo should be pretty much out of this play. It's going to get sent right through by Puffy, and Killiest and Shapeshifting cannot arrive in time. It's 2-2. S.A.D.B.O.I.S looking for the comeback in set one.
Puffy playing absolutely stalwart in these last two games, even in the face of death. No HP, no energy. Still finds themselves in the perfect spots and winning the strike wars that they absolutely need to get these cores into the hands of the player Aldente. The flip beaten out though, but with this Atlas Orb available, potentially could lock it down, but it is Aldente who's locked down and locked up. Throw away the key, put that man in prison. He is down for the count, and we'll have to see if these barriers can stay up, even with that player being down.
Yeah, Shapeshifting just giving Aldente the business there. They block the shots and are able to take out the KO. There's the counter, though. Aldente showing he can do the same, creating a power play for the S.A.D.B.O.I.S and looking for a chance to take it all the way home. Puffy waiting on towards the bottom. Another bell ringer going to connect onto Leo on the top side as they keep up that aggression on towards Shapeshifting. Thunderstruck going to push him back, but somehow managing to hold up onto the defense the entire way through. And this barrier, it just will not fall. Supernova channeled on the opposite side by You Already Lose, hanging on towards the defense. Aldente with a breakaway opportunity, but without The bull rush not going to be able to take it forward. Shapeshifting keeps up the defense, and snare drums comes out. Do not quite connect, and they are going to be able to find that barrier. Aldente now right in melee range with the goal. Can't quite push it through, but there's another expanse coming out of the center, and another opportunity for the S.A.D.B.O.I.S. Kilius taking it back up towards the top. KO found on towards Aldente. Power play now for Lob City as they look to take it back and win themselves set number 1. We were in this position in game 1, and it was the S.A.D.B.O.I.S who ended up on top and carrying it through for the victory. Shapeshift forced a flip off a little bit of a botched clear, but Leo Leon still can't take it on towards the barrier. Aldente looking for the defense to help on out, pushes it past with the bull rush. Thunderstruck not quite going to connect onto the core. uAlready comes out of the arc, has to blink back and keep up the defense. Puffy sends it back towards the top. Aldente with a shooting opportunity, one-on-one with Shapeshifting, but cleared back up towards Kilius. uAlready trying to keep this play going, but it will not be able to hold on. Kilius goes in for the flip, going to be able to open up the goal on the opposite side. KO found onto the era for Lob City, and the chance that they have to win is presented once again. Piercing shot out of Kilius, can't quite find its way into the goal. Shapeshifting sends it to Leo. Leo flips it to the top corner, and Lob City are going to take it.
That point was cinematic. There were so many instances where a single mistake could cost them everything. We saw that flip have to come out from the clear. We almost saw it happen again on the side of S.A.D.B.O.I.S, but they make the adjustment needed. And now it is going to be Shapeshifting leading this draft and potentially rewarded. But there's a lot of things you have to watch out for here. That Catalyst is available, and you can't let that get to the X or the Zentaro, so that's going to be the pickup from uAlready. Bulk up pickup here, that's going to be more health, and with X having a high base stagger already, that's going to be a lot of extra scaling that they get seemingly for free. The team player here is going to keep the core out of their half. Unstoppable pickup here, typically a deny for the Estelle, but is actually the pickup here. Is not going to save you from that bewitching beam, but potentially going to save you from some of these Vice ultimates or primaries, but that Chain Lightning could deny that quite expeditiously if they keep standing in the wrong spots. But the barriers are down. Who's really standing in the wrong spots here?
Yeah, I mean, Lob City just coming alive on their map pick here. They take a quick couple of barriers, and Leo with a nice slashing strike just takes it right around. uAlready, forces the whiff of the strike, and is going to be able to get a 4th point here for Lob City. They do get themselves off to a lead in set number 2.
Definitely a lead, but this Project Maelstrom, we saw last time how big this X can get. You're going to have to be careful here. But there, it actually goes to Leon on the Zentaro. That's going to be a huge primary hitbox that almost takes out Aldente there. But that said, only the barrier is taken down. Leo has this flip for the defense, but they don't use it, and instead the barrier is taken.
Yeah, they're going to be able to come up with both of them there. Counter-offensive from Lob City. They're able to use some of that power that they've got from Kilius to be able to take the first of the barriers, but not going to be able to turn it into a second. Puffy getting shoved around, getting taken out by Leo Leon, but Aldente able to pick up that big upgrade. Going to be able to take a KO of his own and just stands there on him for a second. He's down too. Everybody's dying of the course, not even moving. It's a 2 versus 1 for Lob City, but Puffy coming back up, looking for the one-on-one with Shapeshifting. Not going to be able to push it past as the Magical Maelstrom channels, goes wide, doesn't connect onto the core, doesn't connect onto the players. Leo Leon tries to take it in towards that barrier, wants to be able to cut through the ranks of the S.A.D.B.O.I.S, but uAlready and Puffy hang onto the defense for enough time. Aldente's back up, but the barriers have fallen. It's open goals on both sides. It's sent right through the center. Leo Leon takes a second.
Perhaps it is the enjoyment of this debut going well so far, but Aldente, perhaps it dies to a bit of hubris there, getting locked up by that ensnare drum and then taken away by the Estelle primary. So we'll have to be more careful about that, as right now they are down 0-2 in this set. A big change up from last game where we saw such dominance by the S.A.D.B.O.I.S. Notice Lob City, who's putting on an excellent performance here. We don't know, maybe it's perhaps some of the character picks, or perhaps it's just the map favoritism. Like you said, I believe this was their pick, so it seems like they're playing excellently here so far.
Yeah, absolutely. A much better showing than we got out of game number 1, at least at this stage. Although, you gotta remember, game number 1, right? It was a close 5-match or 5-point set in set number 1, and then in set number 2, it was a 3-0 for Lob City. The only difference here is that they actually won out that first set this time around. We'll see if they're going to be able to take it and try to finish off the game this time around. But the S.A.D.B.O.I.S, they're certainly going to have to start to come alive here. They don't have that one-set barrier from winning the first one that they had the last time around. The flip comes out of Aldente, not quite going to find its way on towards the barrier. Nice stuff of the flip out of Kilius, but can't do it a second time. Shape-shifting sends it off the bottom. Leo Leon ready to receive, and that is a 3-0 set for Lob City.
So much damage here. Leon was on a knife's edge, but they're rewarded for their play of staying alive with a great passing play there to get that point. But this Awakening draft has some scary stuff. We've got Might of the Colossus potentially going to X or Quick Strikes. Can't really deny this player here, Aldente, so they're going to get something good. Rampage also available. But it's the Reverberation to go with the stagger scaling. I like that pickup. Extra survivability, extra cooldown reduction, extra power. You get it all, package deal. But it's actually the Might of the Colossus going to Zentaro here. Missile propulsion, a bit of a deny from shapeshifting, but also a huge pickup for You Already Lose. That's going to be a lot of damage. The Chrono Boost taken to prevent this era from going nuclear, but they are still going to get cast to less. So there's a lot of great pickups here for both sides. But I think S.A.D.B.O.I.S actually got quite a good deal here between all said and done. But that Quick Strikes onto Kiliast is going to be quite tough to deal with in this midfield.
Ooh, a little bit of an inadvisable piercing shot there on the top, and just lets Aldente step up and line up a perfect bell ringer there to be able to take him up off the top side. Now a power play available for the S.A.D.B.O.I.S. They take one barrier off of it. Will they be able to convert for a second? The Magical Maelstrom nearly getting it there, but Kiliast falls back on the defense and will be able to keep things standing. Center Expanse comes on across. Aldente stuck on the top side now, while all of the actions taking place on the opposite. Leon keeping Aldente very low on the health bars here, but the second barrier will end up falling to Puffy. Gets the shrink down on a shapeshifting, dribbles it off the bottom, going in for the 1 versus 2, and taking it home for the goal. S.A.D.B.O.I.S on the board.
That's actually such a huge 1v2 there. Not just because it gets them a point that could lead to this turnabout, but it allowed Aldente to go pick up that orb, get the health they needed to survive, and now they have a flip available for this round. So that is going to be a huge play by Puffy. But the defense is also looking quite huge here, as You Already Lose is getting hit with a lot of things, but is managing to defend just fine, and the passing plays are coming out here. It's going to be an excellent offense in this power play, Gordo.
We've heard rumors about Aldente's X, and they are coming true here as they manage to find themselves the KO. There's another one, ends up coming on through. That credit goes on over to You Already Lose. The second barrier falls down. The Aldente setting up for the bull rush. Can't quite get it onto the core, but it's keeping these health bars low. Pops the Maximus, beaten onto Kiliast, who's going to end up staggered. And meanwhile, Puffy can take it home for another point. 2-0 S.A.D.B.O.I.S in set number 3.
We were trying to turn Kiliast into killed there, but that said, they managed to survive, but not with any energy to defend themselves for this next round. Just that lone unstoppable to give them the help that they need to survive here in the face of the player Aldente, whose X is going nuclear right now. But that said, Puffy has a lot of energy available, and so does Aldente, so that's going to be quite tough to deal with once they get those flips online, as they are about to come up here, it seems like.
Grooving their way into this play there, receiving the pass from You Already Lose off the flip and just taking it all the way home, bouncing it between these tiny little barriers in the center of the map to be able to find their play. Not quite connecting with that flip, not going to be able to take it into the barrier there either. Shapeshifting, able to keep up a last-second defense and hang on towards the last one. There's going to be Puffy taking it over towards the middle, and Aldente going in with the swing. Magical Maelstrom carries the core right into position, but again, it is batted away by Shapeshifting. They're going to be able to trap Aldente there in the ensnare drums, getting some damage on a cross and keeping him out of the play for a little bit longer. Kiliast taking it back up towards the top, looking to find this barrier, goes in for the flip, blocked away by You Already Lose. KO found onto the era onto the bottom side. Leon doing his job and creating an advantage state here for Lob City. Kiliast sends it down, looking for Leon to be able to take it through to the barrier, not quite going to be able to find it there. Gets sent back through the center. Aldente stealing it away from Kiliast and trying to take it towards that top barrier, the last one standing for Lob City. Aldente goes in for another one of those bell ringers, not quite going to be able to connect, and Leon can't get his hands on the core either. Kiliast sets up for a piercing shot. Nice, perfect pitch across the map from Shapeshifting. Will find its way onto that last barrier. That might be the X factor that Lob City need to be able to break open this point. Puffy sending it back over towards the top barrier. Aldente fending off these attempted clears, moving it slowly further and further towards the right. The ensnare drums connect right in front of the barrier. They're still not able to take it down. Shapeshifting hanging on for so long here, keeps it going even through the supernova. Another flip from Aldente down towards Puffy. He's in the Maximus, just trying to do anything he possibly can to clear out this goal arc, but Shapeshifting is immovable and unstoppable. Will not let this go down until it finally does, nicking it on the side and taking it all the way through. You Already Lose comes through with the power chord and sends it to 3-0 for S.A.D.B.O.I.S.
Shapeshifting putting on a masterclass of defense there. It took 3 versus 1 to get that in. That's how potent that defense was. While they aren't rewarded with the draft, they are rewarded with first pick for their team in this draft, so perhaps they will be able to pick something up here. We see Aldente with the first pick, though. There could be another stagger pick up here with this peak performance or reptile, but it's going to be the Orb Dancer going to You Already Lose. Going to help them get around the field a bit more and make those eject button plays a bit more potent, but it's actually Stinger getting picked up here with Reptile Remedy going to Achilles. That's going to be another layer of survivability that they have available, and of course you have to deny that explosive entrance from the Zentaro, but that's also going to be some dash speed, giving them a bit more power on these plays with the Flutterfly. So we will just have to see if they can make the most of it, and it seems like they are with a quick kill, but a quick barrier taken and reconciliation by Leon, and almost a second one going down as well.
Really great stuff here. Leo taking another KO there and just trying to use these bumpers to be able to push it in for that remaining barrier. He's going to start to get bullied by Aldente, though. Loses a huge chunk of HP. Going to be a little while before the Reptile Remedy can get him back up and moving. Going to have to fall back and go and get some barriers here. But meanwhile, the counter offensive here from Kilius going to actually be able to take that second barrier. Even without Leo, they can't manage to clear things back away. They're going to lose a barrier on the other side, though. Aldente started to try to carry things through. Leo dashing forward, low on stagger, but thinks he can close it out. The defense from You Already Lose is going to be too much, and he will be able to send it back away. Shape-shifting, dueling back and forth with Aldente now on towards the bottom side. Leo coming in to rejoin, but is staggered. Going to be able to pick up one of those orbs to regenerate. Aldente still at full stagger, still with the cooldowns, looking to finish off Leo, but he's just a little bit too slippery. Nearly takes out Puffy. Aldente going to be able to finish off Leo. It's a power play for the S.A.D.B.O.I.S. They push forward and find themselves the second barrier. Kilius flips it, though. You Already Lose, barely going to be able to keep up the defense, and now Shape-shifting doing much the same on the other side. Goes in for the flip, sends it off the top. Not going to be able to get it past You Already Lose. The respawns are there, but it is too little and it is too late. Aldente has sent it through.
Some scary situations in that last round. Lots of very tight angles that were just barely saved, but that one cannot be. The defense by Shapeshifting, while excellent, does have some gaps in it, and Aldente making the most of that. That said, we're on side streets now, so part of this is that you're going to have to keep track of where the players are when you don't see them on the map. I know there's been a lot of kills that take people off the map, but these barriers are being the things that are really being taken out here as 2 go down in one swing.
Double barrier secure for Lob City to try to break this loss streak, but Aldente coming back in to try to make sure it stays winning for S.A.D.B.O.I.S. They take themselves the second barrier. Kilius going to be able to guide the core up towards the top to hold on for a little bit longer. Sends it through, able to nearly cause an own goal off the back of that supernova, but You Already Lose going to be able to detonate it in time. Puffy falling back towards midfield, already staggered, looking to get taken out by Leo, but manages to dodge out on the eye rush. Now going to be Aldente with the flip available, trying to take it at midfield, right past Kilius. Does manage to sneak it past the first, but the defense from Shapeshifting clears it back towards the top. They're not going to be able to hold on to it. It's Lob City setting up their own offense. Leon trying to receive it midfield, but going to get taken away by Puffy. Down to about half stagger. X-Maximus already channeling. This core is rocketing, but the defense from Shapeshifting is still coming through. Thunderstruck connects onto Leo. Shapeshifting is taken down. It's an empty goal. Leo going to try to fill in his substitute goalie, but can he do it? Not while Aldente's there to take him into the goal. It's 2-0 S.A.D.B.O.I.S.
Oh, this core is so fast and so loud, I thought I left a kettle on the oven. But a good pickup there by Aldente. That was a huge passing play there between them and Puffy FPS. So if they could keep securing these kills like they have been, and with the help of this Gates of Obscura variant, that should help get that damage where they need it. But the scaling has really come to life here. We see them really just making so much of the awakenings that they have available. The damage from that Stinger really just putting the pressure on. And You Already Lose, always showing up exactly when they need to. Even if they don't convert quite away, they do manage to get it regardless. So that said, the net's open in a tight point.
Yeah, it's looking like the ranks of Lob City are just getting broken here. Well, Aldente manages to piece together the offense with the era buffs at his back, sends it through yet again. It is a 3-0 set for the S.A.D.B.O.I.S. We are going to set number 5.
Set number 5. But that said, Aldente really putting on that X performance like you mentioned, but the awakenings here are actually quite interesting, as we could potentially see that specialized training come out, or extra special to continually make the most of that X Maximus, but that's going to leave Orb Ponderer available for shapeshifting, who's already been putting on a huge defense. That's going to give them even more tools in that tool belt, more cooldowns to work with, but you already lose. Getting some cooldowns of their own with that extra special going to be a lot more pressure off of those eject buttons. And with Among Titans being picked up by Puffy, that's going to be a lot of speed going to them and size to the team on an X that was already huge. And on this Project Maelstrom could get even bigger. But that's going to leave Recovery Drone to help keep Kilius alive. They've got sort of the defensive suite here. They've got Unstoppable Recovery Drone and Reptile Remedy. They should have no problem staying alive here, unlike these barriers. And with Aerials being picked up by Zentaro, that's going to give them the dash distance they need to get into the mix here, as they are right now.
Yeah, absolutely, and I want to call out too, Aerials secured for Leo. Leon, who comes up with the gold credit, finally getting a dash awakening on the Zentaro. He's been craving it all game long, finally paying off here, and maybe going to be the secret ingredient that Lob City needs to be able to take a game and force a game number 3.
Definitely potentially there, but that said, there's a lot of pressure here. You already lose, making excellent use of that extra special already, putting a ton of damage, but it's mostly been healed up. It's actually Aldente who's taking the brunt of the damage here, as they are almost down. And with Kilius having this flip available, that's going to secure the stagger, and now it's up to Zentaro to secure it with the help of that perfect pitch, unable to. But that's good awareness by the goalie to help up on these killing plays. We'll have to see if Aldente can keep themselves alive, but these barriers are going down relatively quick. No flips available, but a lot of pressure here.
Absolutely. There's going to be that Thunderstruck channeled on the opposite side. You already lose. Gets it back into the hands of their forwards, but Aldente taking incredibly low here. A beautifully placed Thunderstruck out of You Already Lose. Forces Elusives out of multiple members. Aldente able to convert one of those into a KO right into the goal, and Kilius looking like they might lose that revive here before too long. Aldente, though, getting taken back up against them. Going to be able to hold on as they get bounced to the bottom corner. Will finally get finished off by Leo and Kilius. Now with the power play, Lob City going to look to turn this scoreline into a 2-0. Puffy and You Already Lose hanging on for now. Bewitching Beam shrinks down Leo and clears out the core in the same breath. Another power chord going to be able to clear things away for the side of You Already Lose, and now the respawn has come on through. Aldente is back, and Aldente immediately takes out the opposing brawler. Leon punished for hanging out too close to the bottom, and it might be what it takes for S.A.D.B.O.I.S to tie things right back up and keep themselves alive. On the point, there's the flip from You Already Lose. There's the score. S.A.D.B.O.I.S tie it up. It's 3 goals to go.
Oh, we are 1-1 in this final 5th set. Every single point matters here. Everybody is fully scaled. No more awakening drafts here. Just your skill to carry you. And right now, the offense of S.A.D.B.O.I.S is looking good, but the defense of Lob City is looking equally excellent. It's so tough to tell who's going to come out on top here. But that said, a lot of resources burned here as we see all of these players fighting for their lives. We'll have to see if they can fight for these barriers as well. But that's going to be the recovery drone down. That could be potentially a weak spot available for Kilius life.
Yeah, that is what you get the recovery drone for. You want to make sure you use it at some point, but now going to be down for the remainder of the set. The flip comes through for Puffy, and it finds the second barrier and the goal. Puffy just sneaks it through. There were 4 strikers between him and the goal, but doesn't matter. We'll slide between them all and take S.A.D.B.O.I.S to game and match point.
Some people would argue, how do you not flip there if you're shapeshifting? But when you're these players, you know your ranges. It was just slightly off. Puffy finding the perfect angle there to get it past the defense. But that said, the offense is 3 in the net, and Kilius does not have the health to survive here.
Leo got KO'd so early on the point, and that could be the final nail in the coffin as Puffy and Aldente have cleared Kilius away and have kept them low. There's the KO found by You Already Lose on the opposite side. It's a 3 versus 2 aggression once again from the S.A.D.B.O.I.S as they look to close out even 2 subs deep. Shapeshifting going to be able to clear things out towards the bottom. Leon trying to take it back into an aggressive angle for the team. It's a pass from Kilius, and Leo now with an opportunity. Crystal Thorns out of Kilius going to be able to find its way on towards that barrier. KO found for Leo, and this is the chance that Lob City's been waiting for. They're 3 3 versus 2. Ensnare Drum's going to clear it back out. Somehow Aldente has found the last barrier. Perfect pitch doesn't connect. Aldente takes down Leo and can take this power point even further, trying to get the score. Still not going to be able to find it. Kilius snipes it from midfield, takes it right out of You Already Lose's hands, says, "Gimme that!" It's going to point 5.
If you are Kilius, you are standing out of your seat for that play. That defense with the help of shapeshifting, even in the face of that 2v3, where time and time again, Aldente has made these opportunities for their team to create a 3v2 power play, just like this one here. They managed to find the defense and even steal the goal, but they have to do it again, as now Leon is the one that is up for this team.
Another great setup from Puffy, taking the second barrier, looking to be able to close out the game. You Already Lose sends it down into the bumper and takes the own barrier. It's open goals for both sides, but Aldente pushes it through. Kilius and shape-shifting cannot hold on. And it's going to be the S.A.D.B.O.I.S taking the series 2-0.
What a cinematic game. I believe we will be seeing some of that in the chat, but that said, these players played their hearts out in this game. But at the end of the day, after 15 KOs with a total of 22 for the team, it is the S.A.D.B.O.I.S who come out on top here, with Aldente and Puffy FPS leading the charge on that offense, and You Already Lose holding it down on the defense. Excellent performance by both teams, but at the end of the day, one team's got to come up on top, and today it is the S.A.D.B.O.I.S.
The S.A.D.B.O.I.S taking another win here. They will move up to 4-1 at the end of Week 5. Lob City, a heartbreaker there in game number 2, going to drop down to 0-5. Putting up a hell of a fight here against the best team in Omega Strike.
Yeah, I mean, if you're putting up that kind of a performance against this team, what does that say about the rest of this league for you? If you're playing this well already, there's still more weeks to go. There's still more games to play. And even in the face of these Titans, you are playing this well. That just shows how much effort these players have put in and how much they are being rewarded for those efforts. But that said, some of these goals seemed almost picture perfect. How did they even potentially find them? But find them they did, and rewarded they were. But at the end of the day, we are going to be moving on to our next set. What do you have to tell us about that, Gordo?